Hey guys, Jay here. Welcome to Models Memories Weekly, episode 42, the answer to life, the universe, and everything. Models Memories is a show about nothing and is filmed in front of a live studio audience. This is a show where I talk about my painting, modeling, and wargaming experiences from the week, and I end every episode with a story. Now you might be thinking to yourself, Jay, you put out 3 YouTube videos a week and you stream every single night. Ow! Could you have more to say? Well, I do, and here goes. This week I did just a tiny little bit of non-channel painting. I worked on this little fella, which is a Raging Heroes. It's a Raging Heroes model, and it's part of their STL line, Infinite Heroes, and it is something Fixer from their cyberpunk range, and he's really cute. And I got to do some fun stuff on him, which is his cloak, that I painted in like a really quick 2-hour feverish painting session in between having to do responsibilities. And I tried to do like thatching on him to kind of make it look like burlap, and it was pretty successful. I took my sharpest brush and I just went to town mixing the perfect consistency of paint, and then just sitting there going line, and then turning it to 90 degrees, and then line. And it worked out really, really well. The first thing I did was I painted it purple, dark purple base coat, and then I brought it up to like a normal purple highlight regularly, just with some glazing. And then I did my thatching, and then I did a thatching of an almost white purple on the top parts, right on top of the old thatching, and it worked out really nice. I can't wait to try that some more, and I can't wait to get some more paint on this fella, because he's really cute. Sometimes I see a model and I'm just like, that looks like it'll be fun to paint. It's a little different from my normal stuff, so I need to buy it. And then I bought it. And it worked out really good. Also, in my hobby journey, I got to put together some more orcs for my orc kill team. I haven't gotten to play with it yet, but I'm really excited to finally have a kill team that I think is actually gonna really, really do some damage. I've been playing Kroot recently, and Kroot are good, but they have some matchups that are really, really, really hard for them. And I've been playing those hard matchups recently. But I put together the Knob from the Greenskins Compendium team, and this guy is an absolute beast. For 3 of your equipment points, you can give him an extra action point for the whole game, which is amazing, and you'd always do it. And I modeled mine with the Big Choppa and Combi Scorcha, which is a great, just this guy's gonna wreck. I mean, for once a game, he's gonna get to blast with that, 6-shot hitting on 2's flamethrower. He can take shots with the normal gun too, and then he has the Big Choppa for if he ever gets within combat distance of stuff, which he probably will. This guy, I doubt he'll ever survive a whole game because close combat models and kill team have a tendency to die, but I think he's gonna do a lot of work before he dies. And then on the complete opposite side of the Orky spectrum, I put together 2 little Gretchen. And these guys I think are also gonna be great. The orcs in the Greenskin Compendium I think are gonna really, really benefit from having a roster, so that right when I see who I'm fighting and what the mission is, I can put together a proper kill team that's gonna really help me do well. And just turning 1 orc boy, swapping out 1 orc boy for 2 little Gretchen I think is going to be super solid, because these guys are tiny, they can hide behind stuff, and they can totally just hold onto the nearby objectives while my real models, the orc boys, Ludas, and the Knob, actually do all the work. So I think that's 2 regular Gretchen are going to be pretty darn slick. And I got them based a little bit. I need to put on the sand, and then I need to go ahead and paint them. But super, super excited for my Greenskins kill team, and I need to work on more kill teams. I feel like I've been slowing down. I had like a meteoric rise, and I put together 5 kill teams, 6 kill teams, but I feel like it's dropped off, and Christmas set me back a little bit, but that's okay, because I'm gonna get back into kill team hard. That is what I worked on outside of doing hobby stuff for the channel. But the big thing I was thinking about this week was tournaments, and how the tournaments didn't used to be a big deal. Like back in like 2015, 16, 17, 18, you would hear about tournaments, but you wouldn't people would just talk about them like, yeah, that's people who play competitive Warhammer, competitive Kill Team, competitive Age of Sigmar, play tournaments, and it's just their thing. They go off and do that. But now it seems like it's kind of flipped, where people talk about tournaments as if that's the game. And I think people get all of the wrong information from tournaments. And it sort of makes sense, because tournaments are where we actually get any numbers of any kind. When Tau are taking all the top spots in tournaments, people are like, the Tau are good, the Tau are overpowered, and everything else sucks. I know that's not true, but that's the story I'm going with. But that's just wrong, in my opinion, to take away that sort of information from tournaments, because it's a little bit true. Like if Space Marines are taking the top spot, Death Watch are taking the next spot, Dark Angels are taking the next spot, like then it probably means that Space Marines are really, really strong right now. But does it? Because how many people, let's say somebody plays Orcs and they're like, oh my gosh, Orcs just won these 2 tournaments. Orcs are so good right now. That doesn't necessarily mean that your Orcs are good, because you might be bad at the game. Most people are bad at the game. It's a really hard, complicated game, and people play it for a lot of different reasons. Some people just like hanging out with their friends and, pushing models around for a few hours. Some people are like competitive, but not into the game. So they really want to win, and so they play like aggressively, but they're not playing well. Some people just want to try out new models that they've painted. Some people just want to play with the same list that they've been playing with for the last 4 editions. That's who you're really playing with. You just have to play a little bit better than your opponent. In a tournament, they're on the ball. They know the meta. They've read all of the most recent published rules. They know their army well. They know their opponent's armies well. Everybody for a tournament has to submit their roster so that everybody can see what's going on and like double check each other. Everybody's playing at the top most ability, and often they change the rules of the game so that things are more fair. Like everybody might be using the exact same mission, where most people who are just playing regular 40k or regular Kill Team are rolling randomly for their missions or selecting their missions randomly and just dealing with whatever happens. Whereas in a tournament, they try to make it as close to a mirror match as possible, which is not how normal 40k happens. And so I don't think the takeaway from tournaments should be that, oh, this army did well in tournaments, therefore it is good. Oh, this army did bad in tournaments, therefore it is bad and not worth playing. It is completely ridiculousness. Number one, it's ridiculous because the rules change constantly. I remember a time in like 7th edition where the top winning army was Raven Guard Space Marines. And you're like, okay, Raven Guard Space Marines, so like assault troops, quick attacks, maybe some bikes. No, it was Raven Guard, Devastator Centurion spam. But if you don't look into it, you might think that other thing, that, oh, the Raven Guard, the standard Raven Guard playstyle is really good. Not true. It was the Raven Guard special ability to get a better cover save if the model is over, I think it was 24 or 36 inches away, and then spamming Devastator Centurions, which is completely not really the Raven Guard's thing. And so someone's takeaway could totally be, oh, the Raven Guard are really, really good. I can't wait to play my Raven Guard because I'm going to be really, really good. When in reality, it was the Centurion spam that was really, really good. Often that's how it works, where a single list or just a few options are going to be the thing that's pushing one army over the edge into very, very good tournament play. It's usually not, oh, the entire codex is fundamentally well constructed and balanced. It's usually, hey, one thing happens to just tick all the boxes and be able to be given all of the synergies and psychic powers so that it's really good and can dominate the competitive scene. And another thing about tournaments that really grinds my gears, and tournaments are fun and people should have fun at them, but just bear in mind that tournament play is like 1% of this game. Most people are just having fun in their basements, kitchens, living rooms, rec rooms, gazebos, driveways maybe, I don't know. But is people taking Games Workshop's rules for tournament play at official events and tournaments and saying, oh, that is Games Workshop's official opinion that they want everybody to follow. Like if you want to use chapter specific or, creed or legion or clan specific rules, your models have to be painted in a way to match that particular group. It makes sense for now that doesn't make sense if you're like, well, hey, doesn't Games Workshop want us to do whatever we want and have fun with it and be creative? Why would they put that, pretty harsh stipulation if they also kind of want us to make up whatever we want? It's because these are two different things. Games Workshop's games are balanced based on these clan abilities, and so they can't have every single person just playing with the best possible rules in the moment. If we have all of these different Space Marines, but the only ones that are really, really good right now are Blood Angels, and every single person who has any color of Space Marine is playing Blood Angels, all of a sudden, the tiny bit of balancing that exists in 40k is gone. Whereas if they say, hey, right now the Blood Angels are good, so Blood Angels players have fun, and then, Dark Angels and Salamanders and all those other armies just have to do their best with what they got. That is part of the balance of 40k, being like, I might not have access to the amazing Devastator Centurions rules that this army has, but I betcha I can make my Sanguinary Guard do some really good work. Or you know what? I bet that if I get enough Meltas on the board, I can kind of make up for other shortcomings my army has. That is part of the balancing act of competitive 40k, and really all of 40k. And so when Games Workshop says that you have to have your models painted the correct color, it's because of game balance in a competitive setting. If you're just hanging out with your friends and you're like, hey, my Salamander's army, can I play with the Ultramarine rules today? They're probably gonna say yes. I mean, you guys all got your models together and are hanging out and you've cracked open the Mountain Dews. It's not like they're gonna be like, no, get out. Get out, George. Out. That would be craziness. So I think people take what they hear about the competitive 40k and they just really internalize it in just the wrongest of ways. Tournaments are not that big a deal. And what I think it takes away from, it is kind of interesting to look at tournaments and be like, ooh, orcs are doing well? That's surprising. Or Harlequins are often doing well. Another thing to think about with tournaments is also often the most popular factions, just for fun, do worse than smaller, less popular factions. Like Space Marines and Necrons tend to do pretty poorly because you have great players playing those armies, but you also have tons of average and poor players playing those armies. So their averages kind of get squashed because of that huge player base. Whereas some of the smaller factions like Genestealer cults and Harlequins have always kind of done okay in the tournament scene because they're only played by a smaller number of elite players who want to take on that challenge of manning those smaller factions. And so that's another thing that you see where you might not really be getting the full picture when you just see, okay, Harlequins are on top, Orcs were next, Space Marines were next, and then, oh no, all the way at the bottom is my Tau. Sad face, I'll never win a game. Not true, you just have to beat your buddy. You just have to play a little bit better than him. And it's just, there's just not worth it to look at the competitive scene and try to figure out what's good or what's bad because it'll change constantly. And you know what? Something that's not necessarily good, like, if you play Tau and you love to spam Kroot, that might not be a winning strategy at a top tournament, but that might be just the thing to beat your Imperial Guard buddy who is not prepared for close combat because he never has to deal with it. He's used to shooting stuff off the board turn one. So that your whole bunch of Kroot might be just the thing for you. So I think the trick to this is just rule of cool, get the models that seem interesting to you, try some things out in the game and see, oh, I really like Intercessor Space Marines. They really seem to rock. I'm gonna get a couple more of these things. I think that's the way to do it. Not at all look at the tournament players and just see what they're up to, because often there's a lot more behind the scenes and things that aren't as readily apparent in those information, in those, pie charts and graphs and info screens. there's often a lot of information you're not getting. And so I don't think tournaments are important at all. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. It's the start of a new year, and I think it is time to make some more New Year's hobby resolutions. The last time I did this, I said that I would play more games. I'd play 3 new games, which I did. New Kill Team, Star Wars Legion, Malifaux. I forget the other one. And I said that I was gonna play 10 games of 40K, played 0. But that's okay, because a new year, new me, I can make a new list. And so this year, I will play 40K. I like 40K. I really like 40K, and I played it a lot in high school because I had infinite time. Now, hard to find that time, but I'll find it. I will find it, and I will play some 40K. My Necrons need to see table time. My Space Marines need to see table time. And maybe I could finally put together enough orcs in Genestealer Cult to get them on the table too. But I want to play 40K. I want to know what's going on with 40K. I've heard good things and bad things about 9th edition. I really, really loved 8th edition. A special time for me in Warhammer will always be 6th edition, because that is when I got into the hobby. And even though the 6th edition rules were bananas, I had a great time. Never got the rules right once, but had fun. 8th edition, particularly early 8th edition with the indexes, was a wonderful time for 40K because everybody had all of the rules. Like literally all of the rules. Everybody had the big rule book and a couple of indexes. You knew everything. That was a really, really fun special time for 40K. But I'm excited to try out 9th edition. I've read the 9th edition Necron Codex and it seems really interesting. There's a lot of stuff going on. But that is one thing that I would like to do this year is play more games. I think last year I pretty much devoted myself to painting models nonstop forever only. And that was really, really fun, but I don't need to do it again forever. I think this year I'm gonna try to do a lot more gaming. This year you will see battle reports come to the channel. They're hard to do, but we're gonna do them, and we're gonna do them the best you've ever seen. And I will definitely find other times that I can get some games in of 40K and other games. I really like Malifaux. It's a super, super fun game. I'm playing Star Wars Legion every chance I get. Again, crazy, crazy fun game. And Kill Team is also dope. Super, super fun game. So play 40K, play more games in general, and I want to downsize a little bit in the miniatures I own. This is getting ridiculous. I have far too much stuff. I think I'm gonna try to get rid of anything I have that's not built because I think new stuff is always gonna be more interesting to me than some old stuff. I managed to get rid of a little bit of models. I got rid of one whole army last year, my Death Watch. And so maybe this new year I can get rid of like one army and then maybe a bunch of sprue that I have. That would definitely help out a lot. And give me plenty of room to get new stuff. I know Arena Rex is a game I saw the other day and I'm like, oh my God, the models are so beautiful, I need them all. And maybe if I sell a whole bunch of stuff, I'll just put that money in a jar that says Arena Rex on it. And that'll give me the excuse I need to be able to buy all that junk. But that is what I'm thinking in this new year. And let me know in the comments below what you are thinking about in this upcoming year. I want a game. I wanna play 40K. I wanna get rid of some of my junk I don't need. That's what I want. But what are you working on? Do you wanna paint more this year? Do you wanna try out new painting schemes? Do you wanna try out new techniques? Do you wanna downsize too? Do you wanna increase what you have a whole bunch? What games are you excited to try out this year? Let me know all about that in the comments. And you know what? Maybe if you guys have some really good ideas, I'll just tack those right onto my New Year's resolutions. But speaking of working on miniatures for myself and the channel, did you know that we make a lot of videos here at Eons of Battle? And if you like those videos and you want us to make more, the best way to support us is by becoming a member of our Patreon. Over there, you're gonna get access to some behind the scenes hobby hangouts, picking which models I paint live here on YouTube, terrain STLs, and more. But with that said, we got some crazy new models from Games Workshop, and we got some plastic Eldar Guardians. And when I first saw these, I thought, whatever. Because they look pretty much identical to the old ones. but they don't. To be fair, they really don't. They definitely look new, they look sleeker, the proportions are much, much, much better. They look good, where the old ones kind of looked bad. They look good. I mean, if you look at the bear heads, it's night and day compared to what they used to be. So these are perfectly good Eldar Guardians. I think in my head, I was seeing something a little bit more like realistic. Like when you look at the artwork of the Eldari, like in the Eldari codexes and stuff, you see they're very sleek and slender and weird and ethereal. But that's not really Games Workshop style. You would definitely see something like that in maybe a game like Malifaux, but these guys have the classic Games Workshop, you know, a little bit inflated. The hands are a little too big, the heads are a little too big, the guns are way too big. That's just how they do things, and these guys look pretty darn good. I don't know, maybe I'll pick up a box for Kill Team. They do look kind of fun. And I bet they really, really start to look great when they're not painted in the Games Workshop color scheme from 1994, which is bright red with orange edge highlights everywhere. I bet they look pretty darn cool when you paint them in a better looking Eldar scheme. But it's really neat that they got some new plastic Guardians, and it's good to see the Eldar get some love. What is that? There's 1, 2, 3, so this is the 4th new Eldar release we've gotten. So it's kind of neat, and it seems like there's plenty more on the way. Maybe this will finally be the year of the Xenos. Because although I feel like the meme of Space Marines get everything and none of the other factions gets nothing is finally starting to shift a little. I mean, we've gotten tons of Orcs, tons of Necrons, a little bit of Chaos, a little bit of Eldar, probably more coming down the pipeline. And we haven't gotten anything really for Space Marines in a while. We did get that Captain and the Ancient. But I feel like now we're finally getting to like 50% Space Marine, 50% everything else. And I think that that's a much more reasonable ratio. But the new Eldari look kind of neat. One thing that's really, really fun is they all have like a banana hammock thong thing going on, which is really, really fun. But the men Eldar have abs, and then the women Eldar have just a belly button. Which is just kind of a fun little touch. Just interesting. Just an interesting design choice. And the ones that are running look really, really good. Some of them still have the weird, super, super wide stance, which I guess is meant to harken back to the old Eldar, but I think they could have left all of that behind and just let the old Eldar have the incredibly wide stance and the new Eldar standing like actual people. But it looks neat. Really, really cool box. I hope that they do some more. Maybe the Dire Avengers. But that is what was going on in the newsy news and what I've been working on. Now I want to talk about a book that I read, and I read the first Horus Heresy novel. And I want to talk a lot more about the books that I read on the show because it's neat. And it'll hopefully keep me going so that I can keep this momentum up and I can actually read a bunch more. Like last year, I think I only read like 5, maybe 6. So this year I want to read a lot more. But I read the first book in the Horus Heresy novel, and it was really, really good. I was pretty shocked at how good it was. It's definitely one of the best ones I've ever read. I know a few people in the comment sections were making fun of me that I've read Infinite and Divine, Brutal Conan, Soul Hunter, and people were like, Jay, do you just do whatever Adeptus Ridiculous does? And I'm like, no, I read all those books first. But I'm sure that those guys, who I love their show, by the way, those guys did the same thing that I did, where they just Googled best 40K books, enter, and then just knocked them right off the list because I've read all the same books. But it was really, really cool. I don't know if I suggest the Horus Heresy to everyone because it's the Space Marine Imperium show. Like, I can't imagine Orc players or Necron players or Eldar players being that into it. They're kind of good books, but I feel like putting them on this pedestal of like the pinnacle of all of Warhammer kind of doesn't work because the 40K is so much bigger than just Space Marines. But it is a really, really cool book. And I'm excited to read more. I started reading the next book in the series, and it seems to just pick up right where the last one left off, which is great because there's some really, really interesting stuff happening. I'm about 20 minutes in. I need to get back to it. But that's something I really struggle with audiobooks, is if I take any meaningful break, I have to just start the whole book over. I listened to the book Soul Hunter twice, literally because I listened to the first like 11 hours, didn't listen to the last hour, completely forgot everything that happened in the book, and then I had to go back and listen to the entire thing. That's just how I am with audiobooks. But I suppose that's how I am with everything. There's books I haven't finished, movies I haven't finished. I just can't take breaks. I gotta push through. It literally took me like 5 weeks to finish the last Avengers movie because it's 3 hours long. And so like the first time I got an hour in before I gave up, the next time I got maybe 2 hours in before I gave up, and then finally I finished it. It was fine. The first Avengers is still the best one. But Horus Heresy, 2 thumbs up, and I can't wait to talk about the second book in the Horus Heresy next week because I will definitely have finished reading it. For sure. Definitely, you heard it here first. And if I don't finish it, then no more Eons Battle. I'll delete the channel and there'll be no more videos. But that was my week, and it'll bring this episode of Models Memories to a close. Thanks for watching.